what we are wanting next for the Clash, because I believe that the LA Coliseum is not going to renew for the next 3 years. I believe we're going to have to go somewhere different. Of course, there was a poll given, I believe, by Kyle Busch actually created this poll, where it basically showed like it was four choices, and 65% of the fans wanted to go back to Daytona for the Clash. Now, we've argued the fact that, it's a good marketing strategy to open the season up in Daytona. Speed Weeks is important. Let's hammer that down. Let's, get as much promotion going on about Daytona and the Daytona 500 coming up the week after the Super Bowl. Like, hey, you got a big event this week. It's called the Super Bowl, where 80 million people are going to watch. But we need about 5 million of y'all to tune into the Daytona 500 coming up next Sunday. In order to do that, it seems like the perfect way to do it would be to have the Daytona Speed Weeks as we used to. But let's go ahead and not argue that here tonight. Let's open the diamond up. Let's find another place in another huge market where NASCAR can basically advertise themselves in between the Super Bowl at a place that would hold this style of event. Now, we have the Dirt in December. If you don't know what the Dirt in December is, it's where the late model cars and modifieds go up and race at the Dome in St. Louis. It's a cool race. It's a quarter-mile track, just similar to what we've seen at the Coliseum. It's indoors. It's at the Dome in St. Louis, so it's not a retractable roof. But let's keep that in an open mind. Taz Taylor, if you were to pick anywhere on the map to go in a big market that you think would entice fans who would typically not go to a race or be a part of the race car culture, where would you point to the map where you would go to try to lure in the next new race fans in a dome stadium type setting?
All right. So, where I was going with it was not a dome stadium type of setting.
It doesn't have to be, Taz. It doesn't have to be. I'm just throwing that out there. I want you to be creative here.
Okay.
What your thoughts are.
All right. So I have actually, now that I think about it, I have two options. One is a not dome stadium type of thing, and two, and the other option is a stadium dome type of deal. So for me personally, I would go with option number one. I'll keep that I'll say that later because I want to explain option number two first. My option number two would be, now keep in mind, I am thinking, how can I help save teams on travel costs? Because I feel like going from the East Coast, Carolinas primarily, are where most of these race teams are starting their journeys from. So you have to think, they have to go from East Coast all the way to the West Coast to LA, and then have to go back to the East Coast because they have to go back to their home bases before they go travel down south to Florida for Daytona. After Daytona, a week prior, they're back on the west side of the country. So at that point, you're not really saving teams financially any money traveling-wise. So how can I eliminate that? Simple. We stay on the East Coast. My option number two, which was a stadium dome option, would be going to a big NASCAR market already and expand upon it, and you can also do cross-promotion with the NFL. You're going to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia.
What? I like your way of thinking. There's already a market there. You don't have to go far from Charlotte. That seems like it was well thought out, Taz Taylor. I'll give you that one. Now, let's go to option one real quick. That's
Option one?
I mean, look, Mercedes is a state-of-the-art facility and can handle a whole lot. It's got a retractable roof, so it doesn't matter if it's raining. The best thing to do is probably keep it half open. Now, whether or not they could get a track built there in time, especially based off of if the Falcons made the playoffs, that's a question. But we're not here to answer that kind of shit right now. What we want to make sure is.
And also, Chris, you also think of the time we're in right now. NASCAR's trying to think of going electric, right? Mercedes, right, I think, kind of falls into that electric car type of deal. So, in a way, I feel like this could be a door opener for NASCAR if they're looking for, say, another manufacturer to pop in with the next gen, or if NASCAR, gets running with the electric car deal, Mercedes would open the door for that. So you're doing cross promotion plus window of opportunities here. Now,
I like it.
Now
I
for my
like
option
it.
number one. Now for my option number one. It's in a big NASCAR market. Again, you're still on the East Coast. You are saving probably at least 90% of the team's financial costs for traveling because they're not really going that far. And that, my friend, is the resurrected, pretty much newly repaved North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Oh, but that's going to be the all-star. And you never know the weather.
No. That's where I'm going to pause you. Because, Chris, if NASCAR can work out a deal with the LA Coliseum for, say, a long-term deal, I would say put the All-Star race at the LA Coliseum. I want to see bumpers banging, doors going side by side, drivers' tempers flaring when there's a big old fat $1 million paycheck on the line versus a clash that doesn't really matter.
Right. So you're saying
I would
switch
rather,
them up?
Yes.
Okay. Now I can go with that. I can see this, but the weather would be a major factor in the North Carolina area for the, of course, February event, and that would be something that would have to be taken into consideration. But mine originally, of course, this is what I was dreaming today, that the Clash was in March and not February. Then I would dream for the Clash to be at Yankee Stadium. Unfortunately, I have to come into an agreement that February is not necessarily the best month. Well, look at the market. Look at the market that Yankee Stadium. Just think about a race being in Yankee Stadium. It's the house that Ruth built.
Chris,
it's the house that Aaron Judge is building.
Chris, can I ask you something? What were you drinking or what were you smoking when you thought of this? Because February in up northeast does not mix very well.
Nope.
I'll
so
tell you
let
this.
me tell you my second choice.
We get 4 seasons in 1 week.
Let me tell you my second choice. Which I said in a dream world, I would like Yankee Stadium. But let's get back to reality. MetLife Stadium. MetLife Stadium. Why? Because you're still in the big market. You have 2 major football teams that have played in that stadium. It's iconic on the Jersey Shore. It literally is the geographic. It's in the perfect geographic zone to pull fans from Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont. Anywhere in the northeastern region to come into that race. Now, my second choice would be far out in left field. But why the hell don't we have a racetrack in Hawaii? Let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to where they play the Pro Bowl, where they used to go play the Pro Bowl. Let's build a track there. Let's ship all the cars overseas. Because, hell, there's nothing better than watching sandy beach on a small island with race cars that have never been there before, right? Let's go to a land that we've never been before. Let's go to Hawaii. Let's get the Samoans and all the Hawaiians on board and create a new fan base within the most beautiful islands in the United States. It's not a perfect world. It'll probably never happen. But at the same time, how cool would it be, instead of sending our cars to Brazil or Australia or Japan, let's send them to America. Let's send them to Hawaii. So MetLife or Hawaii would be my two places of choice if I could dictate where and when the Clash could be run.